Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and welcome to day number 4 of the 25 days of Bucsmas. 25 days talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and some of these guys' impacts that they have right now on this team. And day number 1, we talked about Vita Vea. Day number 2, Joe Tryon. Day number 3, Rob Gronkowski. And we are on now to day number 4. I have the drawer right here. Let's go ahead and take this out. Get the slip of paper that is inside. And for day number 4 of the 25 days of Bucsmas, we are going to be talking about Tampa Bay Buccaneers edge defender Jason Pierre-Paul. So guys, without further ado, let's talk about it. You know, when I think about that time when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traded initially for Jason Pierre-Paul, I remember I was really excited about the move at the time, but I remember there was a lot of chatter, right, regarding JPP and this move from the New York Giants to Tampa Bay. A lot of people, I think, were surprised by that move in some ways, but not surprised in other ways. You know, the Giants, they were just coming out of that Tom Coughlin era. They were looking at some new coaches, some new ideas. They were moving to, I believe it was a 3-4 defense at the time. The Giants thought that JPP wasn't going to be a fit for that defense. He, I believe, had just had that really bad fireworks hand injury that he sustained. I'm not going to go into that because that has been talked about time and time again. There's no need to go into details about that in this video today. But, you know, he was also getting a little bit up there in age. He was going to be 29 years old by the time the 2018 season was going to come around. And there was definitely a lot of people who were considering or, you know, saying things like, you know, what's going on here with this move? The Bucs gave up, you know, a third-round draft pick in the 2018 NFL draft to get JPP. So I remember there was a lot of skepticism there for some reasons. But every time I think about the JPP trade, and I remember I had this same thought all the way back when the trade was made, was it reminded me so much of the Logan Mankins trade, you know, at offensive guard. Whenever Jason Licht first came to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, remember that? It was all the way back in, 2014, 2015. All the way back then. One of the first big moves that Jason Licht made was he traded for Logan Mankins from the New England Patriots, gave up, I believe, Tim Wright in a draft pick, something along those lines, and, you know, Logan Mankins was one of my favorite players of that early Jason Licht era. I remember him coming in and just providing some overall great starting snaps at the offensive line position, and that's a fond memory I have, from that trade being made. And I remember I had similar thoughts when this Jason Pierre-Paul trade was made. I remember sitting here thinking like, well, you know, hey, this is a big name guy who has done some, you know, really good things for the New York Giants before. He won a Super Bowl, you know, with the Giants. That's awesome. He'd been to multiple Pro Bowls before. This is a big name. And despite the injuries, hey, you know, let's see what the guy can do. And all of that skepticism, all of that doubt slowly but surely fell away as JPP started to get some snaps under his belt with the Bucs, you know, some seasons under the belt with the Bucs. You know, I'm just taking a look at the stats right now. JPP, since he has joined the Bucs, had 12.5 sacks his first year, 8.5 sacks his second year, which, by the way, he only played in 10 games that year, and he still came away with 8.5 sacks. 9.5 sacks in the 2020 season, you know, that year when they won the Super Bowl, JPP's second. You know, in this year, you know, as of the recording of this video, he's at 2.5. He has been struggling with injuries, which has been a little bit of an issue with JPP in 2 out of his 4 years here in Tampa Bay. But the thing that strikes me the most is the consistency, right? I don't think it's a crazy thing to say that JPP is the most consistent edge rusher the Bucs have had, at least for, you know, that 3-year stretch there of 2018 to 2020. The most consistent edge rusher the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had, since Simeon Rice? You know, maybe Michael Bennett if you want to throw his name in there, but the consistency is there. And despite the injuries, despite the skepticism that, you know, was made whenever this move, you know, this trade was done by Jason Licht and the New York Giants, things worked out. And heck, even the skepticism from the Giants saying Jason Pierre-Paul, he might not fit in a 3-4 system. The Bucs have him in a 3-4 system right now, and I think overall things have been good. So you definitely have got to give JPP credit for being, the one of the most, if not the most consistent edge rusher the Buccaneers have had in a good long while, and I definitely think that's worth something. We know about the leadership, right? This dude, is such a phenomenal leader, JPP is, for this Buccaneers defense, to the edge rushers, to the linebackers, to the D-line. He brings a type of energy and, just a type of energy, a type of expectation that I think makes everybody around him better. He holds people accountable, I believe. And it's so important, not just for the young guys that JPP may be mentoring, which he is always willing to mentor young guys. It's always good to keep his fellow vets in that accountability as well, to play up to championship standards. JPP had been to a Super Bowl before he joined the Bucs. Now he's got 2 Super Bowls under his belt. And, JPP was one of those guys, one of those original guys who was first brought in, right, who had those championship expectations before and had, been to the top of the mountain and could tell other guys what it was like. He was one of the first guys the Bucs brought in, at least in the past few years, I guess I should say, who had that type of mentality, and I think it's a great leadership quality to have for an edge rusher like JPP. Another thing you got to say for the guy is he's a freaking warrior. JPP has dealt with some pretty grim injuries since he's joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Right now he's dealing with, I believe, a torn rotator cuff, and he's like, I'm going to play through it. He had a broken freaking neck back in, I believe, 2019. He came back, and he still finished the year with 8.5 sacks. This dude's toughness cannot be understated. Heck, of course, the hand injury, again, I'm going to point back to that. The guy's missing fingers on one of his hands. He's hurt his neck before, really, really bad. He's torn a rotator cuff, and the dude just keeps on coming back, and he keeps on saying, I'm ready to go. Let's do this thing. Sometimes, some people will admit to the detriment of the team. The guy wants to play so stinking much that sometimes it can be a problem for his own team. I've been in that camp before. It's definitely a situation that can be brought up during this current season, But wow, you can sit there and kind of scratch your head and say, hey, JPP, maybe, take it easy a little bit, man. You don't have to, be this hard on yourself. You can relax a little bit in regards to injuries. We have the depth here to take care of yourself. While you can say that, you also have to commend the toughness and the durability and the warrior-like mentality that Jason Pierre-Paul has and, really puts into his leadership for this team. Because other guys see that, right? Other guys see the JPP, tore up his shoulder, hurt his neck, is wearing casts and missing, fingers due to fireworks explosion. He's playing through it all. That's definitely something that is a lead by example type of situation where guys are going to see, man, I'm dealing with some lingering injuries, and instead of sitting there and kind of, letting those injuries get the better of them, say both physically and mentally, because, injuries can also be a very mental gymnastic type of situation. They're able to look at an example like Jason Pierre-Paul and follow that lead, and say, okay, I can do this. Let's fight through this. Let's go. And I think that's a really, really cool thing that Jason Pierre-Paul does bring to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with all of the other things that I mentioned. So, I understand, people are saying, hey, where's Joe Tryon, JPP? Maybe take it easy, man. You're playing hurt. And I understand that. I completely understand those thoughts. I've had those similar thoughts as well. Everything that JPP has done for this team in the past 4 years, I think is just awesome. The leadership, the toughness, the consistency. It's all there, right? JPP was one of the first really good guys that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got in this current team right now. And I definitely think that that's something that is worth mentioning and worth reminding people whenever you think about a guy like Jason Pierre-Paul here on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's it, guys. Those are my thoughts on Jason Pierre-Paul, how he's been as a player, how he has been as a human being, and just the overall mentality he brings to this team, to this defense in general. And yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Let me know your guys' thoughts about JPP. How do you feel he's done as a pass rusher for this team? How do you think he's done as a leader for this team? And the types of leadership qualities that he brings. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this as always. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. Again, you know, hey, 25 days of Bucsmas. Day number 4 was a good one with Jason Pierre-Paul. We're actually getting some really good names here early on, right? We've had a couple of edge rushers, a nose tackle, Rob Gronkowski. You know, there's a lot of great names, right? A lot of great names, and I'm very, very excited to continue this series and continue talking about the Buccaneers here, and I think a very fun, positive, uplifting way. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.